A shocking knife attack on a Belfast street. A Sudanese man is charged. The attack triggers riots in the city. Families are driven from their homes.
I didn't know what to do, what can I do to protect my children.
It was terrifying, so I had to escape through the back door with my dog.
What happened to that poor man was absolutely disgusting. But what's going on now, there's absolutely no need for it whatsoever.
Police stop rioters reaching an asylum hotel. Politicians call for calm.
Those organising these protests claim they're doing so to protect communities. In fact, they're doing the very opposite.
So how did the unrest happen, and what comes next? Monday's knife attack shocked and horrified the people of this city, and some of them turned to violence. The incident that triggered it was a brutal assault caught on camera. It left a man in hospital with serious injuries, including the loss of an eye. Since then, Belfast has seen disorder and destruction, with masked gangs targeting immigrants, smashing windows and burning cars. Disturbing scenes sparked by one horrific incident. Let's start with that attack, late evening on Monday, the 8th of June.
Police say they arrived at the scene within minutes of a report of a stabbing incident shortly after 10:30 p.m. A video of the attack started circulating widely online around an hour after the incident, including by far-right activist Tommy Robinson, whose real name is Stephen Yaxley Lennon. We're not showing you the whole video because it's too graphic. It shows a man kneeling on another man, pinning him down and attacking his head and neck with a knife. 3 people then try to intervene. Less than 12 hours later, on Tuesday morning, local police said a man in his 30s, believed to be Somalian, has been arrested on suspicion of attempted murder. Just over 2 hours later, the police updated the statement to say the attacker was Sudanese, not Somalian, as initially believed. Later on Tuesday, police confirmed they had no information to suggest this was terrorist-related. On social media, calls to take to the streets in response to the knife attack continued. Police in Belfast began issuing warnings, calling for calm.
Please, let the PSNI, let the police do their job.
Also on Tuesday, the alleged attacker was charged with attempted murder. And despite the calls for calm, that night, the streets were ablaze.
This is what a small minority of people in Belfast considered the best response to a serious stabbing. Homes were targeted and burned. Families had to be led to safety through the flames, rescued by emergency services, risking their lives in the most dangerous situation. It's what the authorities feared all day, what they warned against and pleaded not to see. The condemnation came quickly and was widespread.
Driving people from their homes, attacking their property, attacking the police themselves is not acceptable and is not excusable in any circumstance. And I would appeal to people that there's nothing that they are doing now which is going to help the gentleman who was so grievously injured. He has had life-altering injuries and is now in hospital. There's nothing that they are doing that is either helping him or his family.
It wasn't just homes. Cars were also torched by young masked men in these predominantly unionist streets. But the target here was immigrants, and the message to entirely innocent families was, "You're not welcome." In the north of the city, more people were forced to flee, including an African family who've lived here for 20 years. Northern Ireland's First Minister, Michelle O'Neill, said in a statement, groups of masked men burning families out of their homes is nothing less than disgusting cowardice. This has nothing to do with community, she said. This is outright thuggery. Despite officials pleading for calm, crowds started to gather in some places in the early evening. On Newtonards Road, around 150 masked men blocked traffic, then set fire to bins, making burning barricades. A bus had to be abandoned and was then engulfed in flames. Firefighters came but didn't approach the crowd. Police officers also stood back for a time. Then the crowd moved round the corner and focused their anger on houses where they believed migrants or asylum seekers may be living.
This is one of the side streets just round the corner from where the bus was set on fire. This is where people's homes were targeted. They're still damping down here. It's clear just how much of a risk there actually was to people's lives.
There were peaceful protests in other parts of the country. And this was Southampton, where Henry Novak's killing and his murderer's sentencing was the backdrop to this round of racial unrest. In Northern Ireland, that spilled over into pockets of violence. The authorities are insisting these scenes must not be repeated.
As night turned to morning, our reporter saw scenes of devastation left behind by the rioting and a community on edge.
This is the reality of what happened here in East Belfast last night. Homes completely burnt out and destroyed. These two cars were set alight at the side of the road here last night, which meant this house caught fire. The woman inside has a 7-year-old child. She told me she had to flee to her sister's house.
Anselm has lived in East Belfast for 13 years. He's now thinking of leaving.
I was devastated, horrified. I didn't know what to do. What can I do to protect my children?
Police said they rescued a number of families from their burning homes, one of which had a baby as young as 2 months old.
Last night was an act of self-harm by the people involved against the incredible communities in Northern Ireland. This has got to stop. We cannot have a society that allows this to happen. We have to make a stand. So please, no more.
As the condemnation rang out over the rioting, the suspect accused of the stabbing appeared before Belfast Magistrates Court. 30-year-old Hadi Alodid was remanded in custody. But that did little to change the atmosphere in the city, where our reporters saw shops closing early for fear of a second night of violence.
Rush hour has come early in Belfast today. It's only lunchtime now, but the roads are noticeably full of people heading home because schools, businesses and other workplaces have closed early.
Public transport stopped too. The city centre was eerily empty by 2 o'clock, with shop windows shuttered and people reflecting on the last 2 days.
There's a terrible hush over the whole city. It is very depressing. It is very sad. What happened to that poor man was absolutely disgusting. But what's going on now, there's absolutely no need for it whatsoever.
Reminds me of the bad old days, you know, in a sense.
The conflict in Northern Ireland?
Well, yeah, just these sort of things happened back then. Shops closed early, people were going home early.
There's a mood of deep concern. Police, politicians and community leaders are hoping and pleading for a peaceful evening.
Live from London, this is BBC News. 12 police officers are injured and 16 people arrested following a second night of riots in Belfast.
Northern Ireland witnessed disorder on the streets for a second night running. This was Glengormley, to the north of Belfast. Lines of riot police battled for hours to hold back a crowd which was trying to reach a hotel housing refugees, just one of a number of addresses on a so-called hit list circulated online of target locations linked to immigrants.
Here we've seen this crowd throwing bricks and rocks at the lines of police officers. There have been some bottles and stones that have come over, so that's why this line of police officers has been advancing towards the crowd, trying to drive them back. There are more officers coming in just at the moment, more reinforcements arriving. They've managed to push this crowd around this road and back into that community.
This is what was feared, what people were urged to avoid. It was localised, not on the same level as the previous evening, not with the same immediate impact, but still a huge challenge for the police and a threat to peace in these communities.
The fear had been all day that this would happen again, that it may escalate further. There is still a chance of that, but there are definitely more officers on the streets tonight. They appear to be more heavily armed and ready to deal with this, and the message seems to be that they're not going to tolerate the sort of disruption and disorder that played out last night, causing so much damage to people's homes.
The appeal for calm again came from the family of the victim of the knife attack which sparked this off. They said, "We have witnessed a lot of false information circulating on social media, which is now forcing us to clarify that our loved one is in fact in a stable condition. We have been left feeling disgusted by the scenes that unfolded across Northern Ireland in the wake of what happened. We have many migrants who make a deeply valuable contribution to our country," they said.
That statement from the family of the victim, Stephen Ogilvie. But the appeals for calm have fallen on deaf ears. Northern Ireland thought it had left the violence of its past behind. But for many, this week had uncomfortable echoes, attacks now targeting immigrants. And many people, both in Belfast and beyond, just want calm to return.